Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Jessa Duggar has been making headlines recently as she and her husband Ben Seawald welcomed baby number 6. Following this new addition to the family, Jessa shared a scary birth story that included blood clots and no heartbeat before labor. So what else did Jessa reveal? Jessa Duggar and Ben Seawald welcomed baby number 6. Without question, Duggar fans love keeping up with all of Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar's children, especially because most of them are at that point in life where they are having children of their own. In Jessa Duggar's case, she and her husband recently welcomed baby number 6 into the fold. Since Duggar baby news is always big news, there is a lot of interest among Duggar fans surrounding this new addition to the family. While Jessa has said that she does not plan to have 19 children, she and her husband are officially a family of 8 following this new addition. Jessa Duggar Seawald details harrowing experience prior to delivery. Jessa Duggar Seawald recently dropped birth vlogs on YouTube detailing events prior to the birth of her 6th child, and these videos are getting a lot of attention from Duggar fans. According to Jessa, however, this time was not all sunshine and roses. Jessa Duggar told her viewers that she decided to make a pit stop to the bathroom before heading out to the car and eventually the hospital. This was all following her water breaking. While in the bathroom, Jessa said that there was a big blood clot. Jessa went on to add that there was a period of 20 to 30 minutes where she didn't feel the baby move. With all of this going on, it was certainly an alarming situation to deal with. If that were not bad enough, she said that once they got to the hospital, they could not find the baby's heartbeat. Eventually, they found the heartbeat. However, between the blood clot and finding the heartbeat, Jessa told her viewers that this was the longest 15 minutes of my life. Duggar fans weigh in on dramatic birth story, with Jessa Duggar Seawald getting candid about everything she dealt with prior to welcoming baby number 6. Duggar fans have been chiming in with reactions to the dramatic sequence of events. One recent commenter said, "You so blessed to have a mother that is willing to serve you during and after birth. I tried to do that for my daughters as much as they wanted. It's truly a blessing." A second commenter added, "It's so nice to see Michelle always present for all of her children's births. You can tell they really love their children. My guess is the baby is a boy by the face lol." Another person wrote, "Baby #6 and still crying with the birth of your babies, and I'm here crying along with you. Your mom is a true blessing to you girls. I'm glad you have her to help. Can't wait for the gender reveal." What do you think of what Jessa had to say? Let us know in the comments below. Jessa Duggar Seawald, the beloved accounting star known for her grounded wisdom and gentle sense of humor, has lived much of her adult life in front of cameras. Fans have followed her through her courtship with Ben Seawald, her marriage, and the births of their 4 children, Spurgeon, Henry, Ivy, and Fern. But in a recent emotional confession, Jessa opened up about one of the most terrifying moments of her life, a sudden medical emergency before labor that nearly changed everything. For the first time, she revealed how a scary blood clot and a moment when doctors couldn't find her baby's heartbeat left her shaken to the core, and how faith, family, and quick medical action pulled her through. The calm before the storm. It had been a quiet, cool Arkansas morning. Jessa woke up feeling slightly off. Not sick, but not entirely herself either. At the time, she was in her late 3rd trimester, expecting her next little one. Ben was already up, helping the kids get dressed for the day, while Jessa lingered in bed, thinking it was just the normal fatigue of pregnancy. She had been through labor before, each time unique but familiar in rhythm. This pregnancy, however, felt different. She had experienced more swelling than usual, occasional dizziness, and an unsettling heaviness in her chest. Her OB had been monitoring her blood pressure closely, and while it was higher than her norm, it hadn't yet crossed the dangerous threshold. Looking back, Jessa later shared, there were signs. But as a mom, you're so busy taking care of everyone else, you tend to ignore your own warning signals. A sudden turn. That morning after breakfast, Jessa decided to take a warm shower to ease the stiffness in her back. She remembered leaning against the tiled wall, letting the water run down her shoulders, when a strange sensation hit, a tightening in her chest and a wave of dizziness so strong she thought she might faint. She sat down on the bathroom floor, calling for Ben. "Babe, I don't feel right," she whispered when he rushed in. Ben helped her to bed, urging her to call the doctor. The moment she explained her symptoms, dizziness, chest discomfort, and swelling in one leg, her OB's tone shifted. She was told to come to the hospital immediately. Within an hour, Jessa was in a maternity triage room, hooked up to monitors. The nurses moved quickly, checking her vitals, placing an oxygen mask, and running tests. That's when the first blow came. The heartbeat that wasn't there. One of the nurses placed the fetal Doppler on Jessa's belly to check her baby's heartbeat. The steady whoosh whoosh she'd always loved hearing was silent. They moved the probe around. Nothing. Sometimes the baby shifts positions, the nurse reassured, but her eyes told a different story. She called for an ultrasound machine. Ben gripped Jessa's hand tightly. In that tense, airless moment, the room felt smaller, the walls closing in. A dozen thoughts ran through Jessa's mind. What if something's wrong? What if I lose the baby now after all these months? Her breathing quickened, and she began to silently pray. The ultrasound tech arrived and began scanning. At first, there was no sound. Then, faint, but there came the rhythmic thump of a tiny heart. Relief washed over them like a flood, but the joy was tempered by the doctor's next words. The diagnosis: blood clot risk. The blood tests and ultrasound results showed Jessa had developed a blood clot in her leg, a dangerous condition known as deep vein thrombosis (DVT). It's rare in pregnancy but can be life-threatening if not treated immediately, as the clot can travel to the lungs or heart. The clot, combined with slightly elevated blood pressure and the brief scare of a low fetal heartbeat, was enough for her doctor to recommend inducing labor immediately. Everything happened so fast, Jessa recalled. One minute I'm home folding laundry, the next I'm in a hospital bed strapped to monitors, hearing the word emergency. It was terrifying. Labor begins under watchful eyes. The induction started in the afternoon. Nurses kept constant watch on both Jessa and the baby's vitals. 4 medications were started to thin her blood and prevent the clot from growing, and she was placed on compression devices to keep circulation moving. The contractions came slowly at first, then stronger. Jessa, who had gone through unmedicated labors before, knew the drill, but this time her mind wasn't just focused on getting through the pain. She was hyper-aware of every beep from the monitor, every shift in the nurse's tone. Ben stayed by her side, reading scripture aloud between contractions. Psalm 46 became our anchor that day, Jessa later shared. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. I clung to that. A birth filled with gratitude. After hours of intense labor, Jessa finally gave a final push, and her baby entered the world with a healthy, loud cry. The delivery room erupted in smiles and tears. The moment the baby was placed on her chest, Jessa wept. I was holding a miracle, she said. We had come so close to losing everything. The clot remained a concern, but with the baby safely delivered, doctors could fully focus on managing Jessa's recovery. She was started on anticoagulant medication and closely monitored for several days before being discharged. The emotional aftermath. Even though the crisis had passed, the emotional weight lingered. Jessa admitted that the memory of those silent seconds without a heartbeat replayed in her mind for weeks afterward. "I'd wake up at night just to check if the baby was breathing," she confessed. "It was like my mind couldn't fully let go of the fear." Friends and family rallied around her, bringing meals, helping with the older kids, and offering prayers. Michelle Duggar, Jessa's mom, spent hours at her bedside in those early days, reminding her to rest and trust in God's provision. Raising awareness, Jessa decided to share her story publicly, not just to give fans an update, but to raise awareness about blood clot risks in pregnancy. "I had never really heard about DVT before this happened to me," she said in her vlog. "I want other moms to know the warning signs: swelling in one leg, unexplained pain, chest discomfort, dizziness. Don't ignore those symptoms." Medical experts confirm that pregnancy increases the risk of clotting due to hormonal changes and reduced circulation. While rare, it can be life-threatening without prompt care. Faith through the fire. One of the most striking parts of Jessa's recounting is how her faith shaped her response to fear. "There's this moment in the hospital where I just closed my eyes and said, 'Lord, my life and this baby's life are in your hands.' It wasn't easy, but there was a peace in letting go of control. That surrender, she believes, carried her through." Life after the scare. Today, Jessa is healthy, her baby thriving, and life in the Seawald household has returned to its lively, laughter-filled pace. But the experience changed her. "It's made me more aware of how fragile life is," she reflected. "Every moment with my kids feels like a gift I don't want to take for granted." Her story has resonated with fans worldwide, many of whom have shared their own experiences with pregnancy complications. For Jessa, that connection has been healing. "When you go through something hard, sharing it can make you feel less alone," she said. "And maybe, just maybe, it can help someone else." A story of survival and strength. Jessa Duggar's terrifying brush with a blood clot and the temporary loss of her baby's heartbeat is a reminder of both the unpredictability of childbirth and the resilience of the human spirit. Through swift medical intervention, unshakable faith, and the unwavering support of family, she emerged from one of the darkest days of her life with renewed gratitude. In her own words, "I look at my baby now and I just think, we're here because God's hand was on us. And that's something I'll never forget."